We're at the Hebrew University, which is holding a regional cooperation conference about the natural gas, which is simply dubbed a bridge on troubled water. Professor Menahem Blondheim, who heads the Hebrew University's Truman Institute, which organized the conference, tries to explain why in so many cases throughout history it was the scholars who opened the door for politicians by just starting to talk to each other.
I think what academia has to do in these kinds of issues is look at targets that are not immediate. We're not going to solve the issues, we're not going to do international agreements through this conference, but we will have a better grasp and a better understanding of the medium and long-range implications of this process. And by sitting together, a bunch of excellent scholars and politicians, we believe we'll be able to chart a course, possible courses, that policymakers can then refer to. So we're trying to look over the horizon a little bit, try to chart the very large problems and the very significant problems, and try to see how this long-range sight can be translated into medium-range, close-range policy.
Is indeed the big bet.
Dimitris Hatziagirio, the Cypriot ambassador to Israel, admits the relations with Israel are the best they have ever been with the Mediterranean island.
We have multifaceted cooperation with Israel. These last 3-4 years, I would say, have been very, very excited in terms of expanding cooperation. That cooperation includes not only on issues of hydrocarbon exploitation and exploration. We are constantly in talks, and more may come. Also, we have other cooperation in desalination plants, in agriculture, in medicine, in research institutes, in universities. Actually, we even had the first Hebrew program in the University of Cyprus, first ever. There are a lot of exchanges. Relations between the two are constantly expanding, and we are very pleased on this.
The Greek ambassador to Israel, Spiros Lambridis, who, by the way, is fluent in Hebrew, says he really doesn't understand why the Greek-Israeli relations have been lagging behind for no apparent reason.
We have had enough of violence in our region, and I think that the big difference that would make the catalyst in this case is the existence of this possibility of mutual development for all countries in the region. So our main idea as EU member is to have something substantial and tangible as a cooperation in the field of hydrocarbons and gas in the area, helping out Israel and Cyprus, linking themselves to Europe. Israel-Greece relationship, I'm sorry to say, has been lagging behind for quite some time for no apparent reason. And this is something that professionals like me should ask ourselves, why? Why didn't we let this thing happen? It was too long before we realized that the converging interests of both countries and other countries in the region, like Cyprus, for instance, can cooperate, should cooperate, because the challenges are enormous. We see a huge instability in the area beyond, and those countries that can cooperate should do it immediately. We should be the guardians of peace and democracy in the region and convince everyone that we are determined, and we do have the means and the will, to support and solidify our democracies, our prosperity, our freedom.
The problem is, if there are
Dr. Aykan Erdemir, who is a member of the Turkish parliament, claims all parties involved have to get over their short-sighted arguments and sit together to build the peace pipeline. And he has also some very interesting things to say about the current relationship his country has with Israel.
I believe that the only way forward for all parties involved is what I call a peace pipeline that involves Israel, Cyprus, Turkey, and Greece. And this is not only a dream, but this is also a logical, rational scenario also for the parties involved, because it's not only the cheapest and the shortest and the most effective one, but it's also the most risk-averse, only if we manage to overcome, of course, the political tension. There is always, of course, a popular grassroots support for Erdogan's anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli positions. So what needs to be done, I think, is for Turkey and Turkish people to remember the positive aspects of our heritage, whether it's the 1492 and the Ottoman accommodation of the expelled Jews from Spain, or whether it's the maybe few in numbers, but those Jewish refugees escaping from Nazi Germany's atrocities. If we can remember those empowering moments in our history, I think we can overcome the short-sighted anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli feeling we have these days.
It all starts with talking with each other. So if academia can manage to bring to one table the Turks, the Cypriots, the Greeks and the Israelis, this is definitely a step in the right direction. For JN1, I'm Jacobsohn at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem.